Dear Johnny, please accept this donation as a token of my appreciation. I told you there was one more game for you to play, and now that everyone's watching, you can't say no. No. You don't want to disappoint your subscribers now, do you? It's time for you to relive your ultimate childhood fear. Once again, Johnny, best of luck.
I know. Why on earth would I fear something as innocent looking as Ecco the Dolphin? You'll have to forgive me if my memory is a little hazy on this. Let's go back to, I want to say, 1994, I think. I was always willing to try something new out, and Ecco the Dolphin would soon be brought to my attention. I thought, hey, I love this Sonic the Hedgehog, let me try this Ecco the Dolphin.
And so the game begun. I was a dolphin swimming around with my buddies. I could communicate with them, and some would offer good advice while others would serve as the basis for Jaden Smith's Twitter account. One of them asked me how high I could jump into the sky, so because I thought it was a mission or something like that, I revved up, launched high into the... Then and there, my 7-year-old self received the biggest shock of his life. It was so sudden. I was just swimming with my 2 blue crew, what the fuck? But that was only the start of it. This music was not fucking helping. You like that Genesis twang? Ecco the Dolphin was the fucking poster boy for that type of composition. I'm sure a foreboding atmosphere was a major element they were trying to achieve, and well, mission accomplished. I was now nervous, but about what? I just started the damn game. I continued on, and that's when things started getting dark. I mean, the water would grow darker shades of blue the further I went deeper, and I had to go deeper to get by. Then suddenly, wham! Fucking crabs! Wham! Fucking pufferfish! Holy shit, what is that? Why is Ecco making these horrible noises when he gets hurt? God, make it stop! That's it, I was done. Back to Sonic 2. It was nearly traumatizing, and the damage was done. Ecco the Dolphin made me fear large underwater areas in any video game that had them. It brought out and accentuated that primal fear of the unknown. It made me aquaphobic in video games, and please tell me I'm not the only one here. I was used to the happy-go-lucky themes of many franchises beforehand, and then here comes this asshole to give me my 3 a.m. cynical wake-up call. Fuck you, Ecco!
God, look at me, 20 years later and I'm still anxious about this sort of shit. You know, people go on and say how Resident Evil or Silent Hill evacuated their bowels, and I'm talking about a dolphin with stars on his head. Yeah, that's how you know he's special. Fucking stars. Son of a bitch. The marathon was going so smoothly too, now I gotta fucking put a... Fucking put it in.
They come out of fucking nowhere most of the time, and they could bypass walls to give them shortcuts to Ecco's vital organs. I'm aware I should probably take my time and swim slowly through these tight passageways, but Ecco can't stay underwater for too long. He has an air meter, which I can only replenish by jumping out of the water or locating air pockets, or maybe every once in a while find a stream of air bubbles, so excuse me if I want to quickly swim through these gauntlets of torture to keep myself alive. Rarely do I attempt to fight these creatures of the deep because Ecco's default attack isn't what I would call accurate. It's a charge. You can use it to speed up or tackle whatever's in front of you, and though it has slight homing properties, it means nothing when your target is tiny and quick, or there's a group of these assholes trying to rupture your blowhole all at once. Frankly, I thought the sonar was an attack when I first played it. I mean, come on, look at it. That should be a projectile. Instead, it's used to communicate with things. They could have sold me on an ocean shooter, you know, like Gradius, only underwater, and Vic Viper is a dolphin. I am a magical dolphin. I have fucking stars on my head. Give me a sonar that wipes things out. Then it turns out later on you can get something like that, but it requires you to press the charge button slightly before hitting the sonar button, so you can't really move fast, shoot, and be accurate at the same time. Okay, now I'm fucking annoyed. That sound may have been soul-wrenching to my 7-year-old self, but nowadays that shit's ear-grating. Hold it in, Ecco, you're losing precious air! A handful of these stages overstay their welcome, making you rescue lost creatures. Why isn't this orca whale the hero? It looks more capable than I do. Exiting levels usually requires Ecco to locate a key glyph and then find the corresponding door glyph to unlock and move on. It's a bit annoying when you spend a longer than normal time exploring and you find a glyph only for it to be the door glyph first, which means you didn't find the key glyph first, which means you pretty much wasted your time. You have a map, but it's kind of cramped for my liking. It doesn't give me enough to work with when finding a correct route and only serves to locate air pockets for when I need them. Anytime I have to escort these spiky things to break these boulders that Ecco can't bust with his nose, I'm cringing. Here, they want me to escort a group with them with a limited air supply while slowly passing by a giant octopus. Fucking fantastic. Oh, what? I did not speed up! Playing this on the Genesis is painful. There are no checkpoints. The frustrations of trial and error will follow you even until the end of the stage, until that screen fades to black. Ecco is so loose, he turns so awkwardly, and they want me to do precise things like maneuvering blocks to break barriers or, God forbid, passing through crushing ice cubes and stones. If so much as Ecco's tail fin gets pinched, he dies, and I'm starting over. Oh man, but that doesn't even compare to how much I hate hate jumping over shit in this game. Acquiring the right amount of speed and launching at a correct angle to jump over hills, or in this level's case, making these sort of jumps over and over again because fuck it, we made this level on a Sunday. City of Forever is appropriate, as well as the passwords that also often spell out the words that come out of my mouth when I'm furious. Right, I guess I didn't really explain what's going on here. Echo's family and friends are suddenly whisked away after this sudden storm, and Echo wants to know what happened to them. So he consults the big blue whale, who tells him to consult the asteroid, this giant DNA strand. The asteroid tells Echo that if he wants his assistance, he must travel to Atlantis, use its time machine, and travel 65 million years into the past to retrieve a missing part of the asteroid's body. You reach Atlantis, and through these glyphs, you find out that your family was actually abducted by aliens, the Vortex, and that every 500 years they come to Earth to harvest the seed to keep themselves alive. What kind of game am I playing here? Anyway, you find the time machine and you end up in the Jurassic era, home to these giant seahorses and these godforsaken trilobites that never let up. I'm glad you're extinct! I see this pteranodon, and I can't help but think it's being carried by strings, like a stage prop. I'm sorry. You find the past version of the asteroid who attacks you because let's just continue to shit on Echo's day. You get the globe, you bring it back to the future asteroid who gives you infinite air and a powered up sonar, which is a lovely gift, but we're already near the end of the game, so it doesn't really matter. You travel back in time to the point when your family was abducted, only now you go along with them and you end up in an alien spacecraft. What the fuck? These alien levels suck. Yes, it doesn't take long to get past the tube. It's just a matter of positioning Echo and sonaring every living thing in your way until it decides to end. But then there's Welcome to the Machine, evidently a reference to the Pink Floyd song. What a random thing to do. I mean, it sort of makes sense. A 5-minute long auto-scroller, which in this game means brutal, crushing defeat over and over again until you memorize the entire fucking stage. And you're gonna die, because there's not a chance in hell you'll know where you need to position Echo as the stage slowly informs you that you made the wrong choice, buddy. After all of this, you face against the final boss, the Vortex. Holy shit, man, look at that thing! If I made it to this point when I was younger, this is where I would shit my pants. Oh fuck! You gotta be shitting me! If I lose to the Vortex Queen, I gotta do the 5-minute auto-scrolling machine level again? Just to get another chance at this dolphin-stealing douchebag? Get away from my family, you bitch! Depth sonar to the eyes! Yeah, knocked your jaw. Oh, you got it back. Well, I'm gonna do it again! There! Did I win? What? What'd I do? Is something supposed to happen now? Do I ram it? I'm gonna ram it. Yeah, no! I died? No more! Echo died saving his family. A true dolphin hero. Get this shit out of my Genesis. Mega hits? You cheapskate. Should've known this was fucking coming.
Cool kids know it's not right to fight. Keep your wits, choose to split. If only I could, Knuckles. No one wins with violence. For more information, please contact National Committee to Prevent Child Abuse? What the fuck? Okay, I don't know what I'm getting myself into here. When the first game ends up terrifying you, you tend not to follow up on the sequel or anything else afterwards, except Defender of the Future, which was given to me as a birthday present when I first got my Dreamcast way back when. Bless my mom, she meant well, but she had no idea. Tides of Time is immediately set after the first game. Echo's just swimming along, once again minding his own business, and then his asteroid powers are suddenly taken away. Why don't we just frame him for murder while we're at it? Jesus Christ. Echo soon meets a distant relative from the future who wants to take our hero to meet the asteroid once again to explain the current situation. I'm playing a game with time-traveling psychic dolphins. Even as a Sonic fan, I find this fucking weird. The future asteroid tells us that when Echo time-traveled in the last game to save his family, he inadvertently split the timeline in two, one where dolphins rule the oceans as you can see, and one where the Vortex Queen traveled back to the past to kill the asteroid and thus created a bad future. Echo must now travel back in time once again to fix the asteroid, regain his powers, and stop the Vortex Queen from causing further despair. Time travel, folks, let's move on. Now, I feel it must be said, Tides of Time is not a bad looking game for the Genesis. The first thing I noticed was how Echo popped out with his higher detailed sprites, and there's a lot of cool graphical effects with backgrounds, layer scrolling, and animation. Not to say the first game was subpar in looks, it was fine if a little flat, but this is detail I can admire. The soundtrack's great too, it's not as atmospheric as before, it's more energetic, emphasizing the video game nature of Echo rather than the dark and deep recesses of the ocean. Most importantly of all, the game isn't bad. Echo doesn't feel any different in controls, I'm still a bit miffed at that, but Tides of Time does not ambush me with hordes of aquatic sea creatures at every corner. The level design is often short and to the point with what it wants to do. The map does a better job at laying out things, including the type of enemy that lies ahead, so I can prepare a better approach.
There's this new item called the Pulsar giving Echo this awesome multi-directional sonar blast that kills everything in sight. Alright, this is more like it. Everything's not as difficult as before, and should you feel Tides of Time is still too much for you, you can select your difficulty at the beginning of the adventure. I've read that the reason the first Ecco the Dolphin was made as hard as it was because the development team didn't want kids to beat the game over a weekend, and nothing against Nova Trade, I know they're probably not even a thing anymore, but that's a really fucking dumb reason to make a game last long. Why not just worry about making the game fun, something that people can easily access and look forward to replaying? When I feel a game's too hard, when it's not a selling point, you know what I do? I stop playing, I tell people to avoid it, and then I go play something else. With Tides of Time, that doesn't really apply, thankfully. I can only recollect a few moments where I cried foul, like here. When you're on your way to meet the future asteroid, Echo has to travel through the Sky Tides, an auto-scroller, which isn't as ludicrous as the machine level in Echo 1, and it's not nearly as long. The next level after, the Tubes of Medusa, require that Echo travels to the top while avoiding Medusas, these humongous jellyfish that don't hurt Echo, but they can grab him with their tentacles and throw him off the path. Should Echo fall off, he doesn't restart the stage, he's sent back 2 stages before, to the level before the Sky Tides. Hold the fucking phone, if I messed up in the Sky Tides, I restarted in the Sky Tides. So why does that game logic suddenly not exist in the Tubes of Medusa? That sort of inconsistency is what makes me steam. The whole sequence involving the rebuilding of the asteroid got a bit boring after a while. There's so many big blue balls to find and bring back, and it starts to wear on you. The 1 or 2 times where you transform into a different animal were interesting, but ultimately pointless. Though there was something funny about seeing Echo the bird getting thwacked with a rock or an oncoming predator and falling back down like a rag doll. Sure, it has its moments, but that's all they are, moments. Tides of Time is okay. I'll gladly play this over the first game anyway, so thanks for the donation, you fucking muppet.
Alright, I mean, I already know what's coming up next. I still own the games, there's nothing. Echo Jr.?
Echo Jr.? What? Come on, what is this shit? An Echo game for kids? Sega Club, was that like Club Nintendo? I should really get to spending those coins soon. I mean, it's a young Echo the Dolphin along with his friends, and the game is a giant scavenger hunt. You look for the required items, you bring them back to whoever's looking for them, and that's how you move on to the next stage. Sometimes you play tag with one of your friends, and sometimes you bring a ball back to a seal. Nothing can kill you, I would hope not considering the demographic, but wouldn't that be some shit if the Vortex Queen suddenly came down and wreaked havoc on this innocent game? That'd be something. This is harmless stuff though. What I want to know is how many kids played this, liked what they played, and then went straight to Echo 1 afterwards. I can hear the screams of anguish from here. That's if the music didn't already creep them out.
This music was made for a kid's game! Alright, come on, now we're just wasting time. I haven't played Defender of the Future in years, and I don't remember anything about it.
Oh boy, and I think I'm slowly starting to remember why. Defender of the Future is boring. Like, it's so boring, I can't even muster any sort of anger to complain about the sensitive control, how awkward it is to attack on a 3D plane with no lock-on feature, the herky-jerk camera, and how set pieces are sort of non-existent here to help distinguish one murky area from the next, when they're not throwing you in the fucking dark. I can't see shit here. It's so unclear on mission objectives, and that hits you as soon as the second damn stage. The hints given from the glyphs and other creatures are overly eloquent to the point of absurdity, and because it's difficult to tell where you're located, you often need to rely on the map, which could have easily taken a spot on the lower right portion of the screen. Instead, they have the whole thing materialize smack dab in the middle of your TV, obscuring your vision and making dark sequences a visual pain in the ass. It got so bleak to the point where I used the level select code just to see if things improved, and no, things do not. It's not a matter of finding keys or doors, it's just a bunch of finding things for other things, kind of like Echo Jr. but stretched out. Linearity is only limited to a few levels, and the broad approach makes a ton of stages feel like they go on forever. I couldn't even find joy in the hidden soccer level, I'd rather play Blitzball. The best part that I've experienced, ironically, was the hidden level that was a throwback to classic Ecco the Dolphin. Ain't that some shit? The game is a reboot of the series, but it's still about dolphins versus aliens. Just replace the Vortex with the Foe, wonderful name there, and instead of the asteroid, there's the Guardian. It's all the same to me, but instead of anger, there's indifference. This feels like a movie about a dolphin and his time-traveling adventures that was forced to become a video game. The stuff you do in-game is nothing compared to what happens during cutscenes, and I feel the themes are overplayed. The ocean is big, blue, and beautiful, dolphins are cool, the aliens are dicks, I understand, but all this in-between stuff, you know, the actual game, I'm dozing off just thinking about it, and you guys know how I feel about boring games, and they're so hard to explain too. Defender of the Future would be the last Ecco the Dolphin game to be made, and an attempt at making a spiritual successor by the series' original creator failed to get the proper funding on Kickstarter. It's clear the guy wants to continue on with what he has, and if it's anything like Tides of Time, then I don't know, maybe I'll consider it, but look, I'm aware of Ecco's cult status. There is an audience for this, but Tides of Time is the only one of the whole bunch I can recommend, and even then, that's a cautious recommend, because it's not your typical sort of game no matter the title. Maybe that's what gives it unique qualities to some. To me though, it has too many cracks in the seams, and I don't feel like talking about it anymore.
There is not a game I'm not willing to play for the sake of letting you guys know what I think about it, and whether or not you should consider getting it yourself. Does Ecco the Dolphin really matter at this point in time? No, probably not. But should you feel the need to try it, it's on a lot of other collections and online services. You kids got it lucky with save states and all that. I had to play this game raw. But I'll put up with it, as long as it means entertaining and informing you all. I love you guys. And recently I broke 150,000 subscribers thanks to you all. That's amazing, it really is. I'm grateful and eternally thankful for it.
Dear Johnny, it's now clear to me that breaking you is a futile effort.
I'm gonna need some time for this one, folks, so I'm gonna take a small break, and when I return, it's time for Bubsy. With all that said, thank you guys for watching, have yourselves a fantastic night, and take care.